Hi, my name is Zach Simmons, and this is Pro Football Today. So this is a show that we look at new developments going on in pro football, including the NFL and a little bit of the AAF. So today we're going to be talking about a recap of last week's free agency frenzy. A lot of stuff happened. Some teams that were on the bottom look to be at the top this year. Some teams that were on top may be down the bottom this year. So we're going to take a look mainly at the top three teams of free agency and the bottom three teams free agency. So we're going to take a look at the top first. So my number three team, the third best team in free agency this year, I thought, was the Indianapolis Colts. Yes, they had $100 million in cap room, and yes, they've only spent $30 million of it. They've only made two top signings, that being Pierre Desir, they re-signed him, and then they brought Devin Funchess as their receiver too. So a lot of you could say, why in the world could you say that Indianapolis had a good free agency? The reason is they made the playoffs last year. They don't really have a lot of big needs. A lot of the needs they have really aren't addressed in this free agency. And plus, it's always smarter to build within the draft instead of spending a bunch of money on guys that you don't know will work in your system or not. So they brought in Funchess, which was a really, really good thing for them. They needed the second receiver. They've been losing that since they let go of Dante Moncrief, or at least let him go into free agency. Now they have Funchess, who should help out T.Y. Hilton. We get a lot of attention there by the defense instead of all the attention going towards T.Y. and Eric Ebron. Now they have Devin Funchess to help out with that. They also brought back Chester Rogers, who had a pretty good season last year. So overall, yes, they didn't spend their money. That's okay. You don't need to spend money. Just because you spend money does not mean you won free agency. Sometimes not spending the money is actually the best thing you could possibly do, and that's what the Colts did this year. The building up to the draft, they've had a couple really good drafts. And look at last year. Quinn Nelson was a great guard, made Pro Bowl, and then Darius Leonard should have made Pro Bowl. Was phenomenal, and that was a second-round pick. So the Colts should be just fine. They didn't need to spend the $100 million. And in fact, I think they're the third best team out there in free agency because they didn't spend that money. So number two, I have the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, I believe, had the second best free agency. Why? Well, they needed to build around the rookie quarterback. Josh Allen, I didn't think was a good quarterback. When he got drafted there over Josh Rosen, I thought they missed out on the best quarterback in that draft. But halfway through last season, Josh Allen began to show what he can do. And at the end of it, I had to say that Josh Allen is not as bad as what I thought he was going to be. Yes, he needs work, but mainly he needs a receiving core. He had no one last year. Kelvin Benjamin was barely there. Zay Jones was decent. They didn't have a receiving core. It didn't help. They also didn't have a running game. LaShawn McCoy kept getting injured. He wasn't there half the time. There's even one game where they had no running back. So what they do there, they add Frank Gore. He's an old running back, but this guy still has a lot left in the tank. I still believe Frank Gore is a three-down back. LaShawn McCoy, not so much. McCoy, I think right now is a committee back. I don't think his body can take it anymore. So now you add Frank Gore there. I'm expecting a 50-50 split between carries, between LaShawn McCoy and Frank Gore. Great addition there. You need to establish a running game for your young quarterback. But then they go out and grab Cole Beasley and John Brown. This will help Allen out a lot. Yes, they don't have the number one guy. I don't think John Brown is the number one receiver, and Cole Beasley is great in the slot. However, the only number one receiver in this free agency, I believe, is Golden Tate. So really, they don't lose too much. There's not a lot of guys out there they can get. I think John Brown is the next best option for a number one receiver. And plus, they still have the draft. Maybe, just maybe, DK Metcalf is on their radar. So yes, they don't have the number one guy. It's okay. They still built around Josh Allen. Allen should be fine. Buffalo probably won't be taking on the Patriots, but they may be a candidate for the wild card spot. I'll give them another year or so, but they did a lot of work on that offense this round of free agency, which I can't say they've done that very well in the past. So good for Buffalo. Good job going around your young receiver or young quarterback and getting him a good group of receivers, a good running game, and then they also brought in Mitch Morse there at center to help out the line. So great job by Buffalo. Easily the second best free agency week that I saw this year anyway. Then we go to number 1, the New York Jets. They did a phenomenal job in free agency. They had the money. They spent the money on Le'Veon Bell. Fantastic. Now they have that running game to help out Sam Darnold. Then they add C.J. Mosley, help out that defense. That defense needed some help. They need a leader, and they have that in C.J. Mosley. Good job shaping the defense, bringing back Henry Anderson. Great job by the Jets. The one problem I see from the Jets is the receiving core. Robbie Anderson is, and he's been pretty good. Nunwa has been pretty silent. Yes, he tore his ACL a couple seasons back. But I haven't really seen that true breakout receiving core like I would have expected. Robbie Anderson's good, but his off-the-field issues show a little bit of concern of how long he's actually going to be there. They do bring in Jameson Crowder, who was a good option there in Washington. The problem is he had some struggle staying healthy last season. Then they had Josh Bellamy. Being a Bears fan, I watch a lot of Josh Bellamy. And one thing I can say is this is a good receiver that can fit in as a third string or a fourth string receiver. He can help our young quarterback, but he is not your main guy. But anyway, putting him as a fourth string, that's where he exceeds at. You can put him in there for a few plays, kind of help out Sam Darnold out. He should be just fine. That was a good pickup, I thought. But we'll see exactly what Robbie Anderson can do. I'm not sure why, but I'm not sold on Robbie Anderson as a number 1 receiver. So we'll see what the Jets can do. But I like what they've done here. They got that running game going. So now you have McGuire. Now you have Le'Veon Bell there with the running game. That's going to help out Darnold. And don't forget, Le'Veon Bell can catch the ball too. He's not just a running back. He's a receiving back as well. So Darnold's got a good amount of help there. I think Crowder will help him out. He's a good receiver. He just needs to stay healthy. But the Jets, they didn't just shape their offense around. They didn't just help out Sam Darnold. They also helped out the defense. They had some good pieces there. And Laird Williams and Jamal Adams. But the glue, I believe, is going to be C.J. Mosley, a nice young linebacker compared to Luke Kuechly. This guy is phenomenal. This is a leader that they needed. They've been struggling with the inside linebacker job for a long time. Now you have Mosley. They should be fine. So great job there by the Jets. And great job by the Jets, Buffalo, and Indianapolis. All three of these teams you just may have to worry about. I would say the Colts more than anyone else. They made the playoffs. They added another piece in Devin Funchess. I think they're the favorites to win the South, or to win the North. Or South. I was right. It is the South. But the Jets and Buffalo, you do still have the Patriots there. Jets could make a run for wild card spot. Buffalo, I think they still need another year. But I'm not sure they can challenge the Patriots for the division spot. Not as long as Tom Brady is in that spot. So there's your top 3. Now we go to the bottom 3. And this is when I may make some enemies. Especially with number 3. This is the third worst team, I thought, when it comes to free agency. And that is Jacksonville. Yes, Jacksonville, the team that picked up Nick Foles, the team that splurged money for Nick Foles. Here's my issue. They didn't get anyone else. They let go of Jackson, let go of Gibson. They let go of Moncrief. They gave up a lot of key players, especially on the defense, to get Nick Foles, and I honestly don't think it's worth it. I haven't seen enough from Foles to say that he is a true starter in this league. I've seen enough to say that he is the best backup in the league. But the problem I see with Foles is I can't remember a time when he was the starting quarterback week 1 and he rallied a team and got everything going. I've seen him come in for the starter halfway through the season and then continue what the starter has done, but I haven't actually seen him start the momentum. Just look at last season. They won the Super Bowl. He comes in as a starting quarterback week 1, and I have to say it was awful. It was dead awful watching him try to play quarterback at the beginning of last season. Wentz gets hurt, he comes back, and he rallies the team once again. But I haven't seen enough of him to say that he is a starting quarterback in this league. At least not a long-term starting quarterback in this league. Maybe a bridge quarterback. Maybe someone who can play for a year or two. But that's not how they're paying him. They gave him a 4-year deal worth $80 million. This, I don't think it's worth it. They spent all their money to let go of key players in the defense, a key player in their offense for Nick Foles. I think it's going to bite them. They should have done more. We'll see in the draft how they can do. But man, there's a lot more they could have done, especially with Leonard Fournette. There's a lot of questions around Fournette. So you bring Foles in, you don't have a good receiving core. You have D.D. Westbrook, and that's pretty much it. And then you have Leonard Fournette, who Tom Coughlin called out. So I don't know. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, this team is the sure winner of the AFC South." I haven't seen it. Foles, maybe you can prove me wrong on this, but I don't see them doing very well this season, giving up so much for a guy who, quite frankly, I'm not sure is that much better than Blake Bortles. Then number 2, Miami. Miami is in clear rebuild. They got Brian Flores. They fired Adam Gase. They trade Ryan Tannehill. The one thing they've done is get Ryan Fitzpatrick, which shows they're waiting for that rookie quarterback, which you never know. They're in a good spot to grab Locke. Maybe Haskins, I doubt it, but maybe Haskins can fall down there. So I wouldn't be surprised if they draft a quarterback here, but they have been silent throughout this free agency. For a rebuild team, I would say you don't want to, the last thing you want to do is spend a lot of money when you're rebuilding. However, you got to try to sign someone. The Bears, when they started the rebuild, went for Danny Trevathan, and it worked out. He's still with the team now. They went for Akeem Hicks. He's still with the team now. You just need to pick up smart players. So to avoid free agency altogether, I don't think was a good decision by Miami. They got Fitzpatrick, great. He's a good starter. He's someone you can depend on for a season. But that's all they've done. They let go of Danny Amendola. The run game is okay. Kenyon Drake's a good running back. He's a decent running back. He kind of went downhill a little bit last season. Showed that losing Damian Williams was actually a big hit for them. They lose Jarvis Landry. That was a hit. Now they cut Amendola because they thought he was going to be much better than what he actually is. The problem is they haven't done anything. So until they do something, they can move up on the list. But as of right now, Miami, what are you doing? This is a rebuild. Pick up some guys. Don't spend the big money, but pick up some guys. So hopefully they can have a good draft, but I just haven't seen too much from Miami. And then the worst team with free agency, the Baltimore Ravens. I know what you're thinking, but didn't they sign Earl Thomas? Yes, but look at all the players they let go. They let go of Eric Weddle, who, yes, is an old safety. Yes, he wasn't as good as what they thought he was going to be. He's still a good, solid safety, and he's better than Tony Jefferson. What are you doing? Then they don't re-sign C.J. Mosley, their young, up-and-coming linebacker. They lose Smith to the Packers, and they lose Terrell Suggs. How do you lose Terrell Suggs? He's synonymous with Baltimore. So you lose all those pieces on defense. You lose John Brown. You lose Michael Crabtree. What are you doing on offense? And yes, you trade away Joe Flacco, but Lamar Jackson, I'm just not sold on Lamar Jackson. Yes, he won games last year, but he didn't look pretty. He didn't make good throws. He didn't make good decisions. There's a reason he lost in the playoffs. And I'm truthfully surprised that he actually made the playoffs. So they don't do anything. Let people go. Yes, they got Earl Thomas. Yes, now he can help out Tony Jefferson. But for the most part, that team is in shambles. Alex Collins is gone now after being arrested. So now their starting running back is Mark Ingram. Ingram was a good pickup, but Ingram's also on the downside of his career. So I haven't seen enough from Baltimore to say that they can make it to the top. That's why I believe they had the worst free agency. You're looking at a division leader. Now could go to third place. I see them doing better than Cincinnati, but I see them doing worse than Pittsburgh and worse than Cleveland. They have reached from going to the playoffs, from winning division, to what I think could be the start of a rebuilding season. So, not liking what I see there from Baltimore. So that's our bottom three. So to recap, top three, we have Indianapolis number 3, we have Buffalo at number 2, and we have the Jets at number 1 with that Le'Veon Bell signing. Then our bottom three, we go with Jacksonville. They only stuck with Foles. Spent all the money on Foles. Number 2, second worst, Miami. They didn't do anything. They let people go, and frankly, I'm not even sure they're technically doing a rebuild. It's almost like they're just trying to maintain or do slightly worse, try to get a better pick for next year. And then you have Baltimore, who let everyone go and really hasn't done much. Went from the best in the division and have the chance of going worst. So that's my take. I know I said some pretty controversial stuff. So if there's something you liked, please comment about it. If there's something that you disagreed on, post it. I love seeing what you guys think. So that was this episode of Pro Football Today. So please keep watching. There'll be another video on next week. So have a good day.